Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Come to lie down on your back. Bring the bottoms of your feet together and let your knees open to the side. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Allow your eyes to close and find a few moments of breath. Notice the rise and fall of your belly and your chest with your breath. And start to make your breath longer in each direction. Nice full big breaths in and out. And now bring your hands to the outsides of your thighs. Close your knees like a book. Pull your knees in towards your chest. And then from here with your right hand, grab your right knee. With your left hand, grab your left knee. We're going to start to draw some big circles with your knees. Starting to find a little more range of motion and movement in your hip joint. We take 5 in this direction. Maybe find that each cycle, your range of motion can get a little bit bigger. And then after your 5 in one direction, go ahead and take this the opposite way. Nice big juicy circles. Take this at your own pace, at your own range of motion. And then once you've finished your 5, pull your knees back in towards your chest and rock and roll yourself to a tabletop position. So however you need to bring yourself to a tabletop position. Bring your shoulders over your wrists, let your hips come over your knees, and we'll start to move through a few sets of cat and cow. On your inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And on your exhale, press into the ground, dome through the upper back. I like taking this cat-cow every single day. It's a really good way to warm up through your spine, to find some activation through the core, through the shoulders and hips. Continue to infuse your breath with your movement. And if you want to pepper in anything extra here, maybe some movement through the ribs or the hips, you can feel free to add that in as well. Go ahead and take this about 5 times or so, just moving with your breath. And after your 5th time, come to a neutral tabletop position. Open your left knee out to the side and then start to draw some big circles through your left knee and into your left hip. We take about 5 circles in one direction just to start to find even a bigger range of motion into the hip joint. And after you take 5 circles one direction, go ahead and take this the other way. Feel free to go as fast or slow as feels good in your body. Imagine that your range of motion could expand with every circle. And after your 5th time, extend your left leg out to the side, bring your left foot so it's flat to the mat. And now start to shift your hips back and forth. So we're starting to get a little bit of stretch and length into the inner left thigh and into the groin. Just slow and steady, push your hips back and forth. And you might feel this in different ways and different levels of this stretch. Explore what feels good for you, maybe linger a little bit longer. And now lift your left leg and take it all the way around and across over your right shin. So you're on the pinky toe edge of your left foot. And then send your hips back. So this stretch will get a little deeper into the outside of your left thigh. And now swivel your right shin across, bring your left knee behind your right knee. We're coming into this cross-legged child's pose. So you might notice that your hips are pretty high up in the air, and that's okay. This is just kind of a beginning hip opener in this sequence today. Breathe into this space, the opening of the hips, the space between your shoulders. And then slowly press yourself to an upright tabletop position. We take this all on the opposite side. So open your right knee out to this side and then find your 5 circles in this one direction. Feel your range of motion increase. And notice how your core really has to stabilize in these circles as well. And after you've taken 5 in one direction, go ahead and take this the opposite way. And you'll notice that your right hip is opening a little bit or a lot, and that's okay. We're just kind of exploring and moving into the joint. And after your 5th go around, keep your right leg out to the side and extend your right leg long. And then lower your right foot down to the mat and start to shift your hips back and forth. So again, we're moving into this nice inner thigh and groin stretch, especially into the right leg. And just keep this movement going back and forth. We take this about 5 times or so. Feel free to linger a little bit longer. Lift your right leg up, cross it behind your left. Bring the outer edge of your right foot down to the ground and then sink your hips a little more over towards the right side of your mat. Bring yourself back. Now cross your knees and send your hips back. So we're in a cross-legged child's pose. Fill the space between your shoulder blades with air, with breath. And again, you might notice that your hips are up quite high. That's okay. Just feel how this stretch feels in your body, this opening in your outer hips. And then slowly unravel, bring yourself back to a neutral tabletop position. From here, flip your toes and find downward facing dog. Energize your heels down towards the ground. Think of an upside down V. Really press down into the palms. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Find full big breaths in and out. On your inhale, lift your right leg up high. And now bend your knee, open your hip. You can take small or big movements in the joints of your right leg. Allow the front of your right hip to just open up. And now extend the right leg and then pull your right knee across to your left tricep. Try to make contact there. And now bring your right knee to your right tricep. And now step your right foot outside of the right hand and lower your back left knee down to the mat. Bring your right hand onto your right thigh and open your right shoulder up towards your ceiling. So we find a nice hip flexor, left hip flexor opener here, and then also a little bit of rotation in the chest and upper body. Breathe into this space. And slowly release. Bring both of your hands down, flip your back toes, lift your back knee, find a high plank, and press to downward facing dog. We take this on the other side. On your inhale, lift your left leg, and now bend your knee and open your hip. Option to stay there. Maybe you want to find a little bit of movement through the ankle, the knee, the hip. Just yawning open through the front of your left hip. Now start to pull your left knee towards your right tricep, this cross body oblique exercise. Pull it across, press into your palms. Definitely breathe. And now bring your left knee over towards your left tricep. Again, continue to try to make contact. And now step your left foot outside of your left hand. Lower your back knee down to the mat. Place your left hand on your left thigh, and we twist open to the ceiling. So I like to put a little bit of pressure into my left palm, and that encourages the chest and the heart to twist open just a little bit more. Continue to press your hips forward. Nice big breaths in and out. And then slowly release, bring both hands down, flip the back toes, lift the back knee, high plank, into downward facing dog, lift your hips up. Take a full big breath in and out in your downward facing dog. And start to walk your feet up towards your hands. Separate your feet about hips width distance, take a bend with your knees, and slowly start to roll yourself up to stand, one vertebrae at a time. Shoulders, chin, and gaze are the last things to arrive. Send your hips back, move into this squat, this chair pose. Shift your weight to your right foot and pull your left knee up, and then descend with control back to chair to switch. So all of the weight goes to the left, pull the right knee up. And we're gonna take this a few more times, just starting to find a little more balance in the legs. We've worked a lot on balance in the core. Now we're bringing that into the legs. And use your breath to guide this. On your exhale, send your hips back. On your inhale, one-legged stance. And now we're going to vary this up. So lift your leg, open your knee to the side, bring it back around you, try to extend the leg. And now pull your knee back up, stand up, and then move to a squat, and we switch. So we're just progressing where we started. Open the leg to the side, and then extend it back long behind you. So very similar to some of the other positions that we've played around with in this sequence. We focus on finding range of motion in the hip joint. Move at your own pace. If you fall out of it, come right back into it. And you might notice some little wobbles in your bottom ankle. That's okay. Just continue to move and find resistance. Try not to go too fast. Think that you're moving through molasses. Very controlled movement. The core is working like crazy. If you can, after that long extension to the back, try to pull your knee back up to a one-legged pose. And then when you come into that kind of arabesque position, think of an actual arabesque. Think of the length behind your back knee, the stretch out of the crown of your head. Take your last set. We transition out of this exercise. Go ahead and stand up. Maybe find a little back bend just to let that go. And then find a forward fold. Step your feet back, downward facing dog. Inhale to lift your right leg high. And now bend your right knee and open your hip. So option to stay right here as we did before, or option to flip your dog. So you can rotate over onto your right foot and bring your right hand up off the ground. Spin your heart open towards the ceiling. Create this nice openness in the front of your torso. Breathe into that space. And then slowly bring yourself back. Now take your right knee over towards your left tricep, just as we did earlier, but now extend your right leg, and then you can stay right here, or you can shift all of your weight to your right hand and peel your left arm up and peel your chest open. Option also to lift your left leg up off the ground. So this is a little bit of an extra core strengthener. Re-extend your right leg, three-legged dog. And now come into a full half pigeon. So bring your right shin forward, lift your chest up just for a moment, and then when you're ready, start to crawl your hands forward into your half pigeon stretch. Let your chest be heavy, let your torso be heavy. And just breathe into this space that you're creating in your right hip. Use your breath to anchor you down, get even a little bit heavier. And then slowly bring yourself up. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Flip your back toes. Find a three-legged dog. One more time, reach your right leg up into the air. And then find downward facing dog. We take this all on the opposite side. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Then bend your knee. Open your hip. Option to stay right here. Or option to continue this and bring your left foot down to the mat. Flip your dog, go upside down, and lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Actively press down into your right hand. Feel that nice openness in the front of your body. And slowly bring yourself back, reach your left leg up, and now pull your left knee towards your right tricep. Extend your left leg, option to stay right here, or option to shift your weight to your left hand and reach your right arm up. Emphasize this nice opening in the front of your chest, the front of your torso. And then option to stay here, or maybe you try to lift your bottom left leg up off the ground. It's a challenge, just try it out, see what happens. Move back to three-legged dog, reach your left leg up, and now move into your half pigeon. Pull your left shin across, open your chest, and then when you're ready, start to crawl your hands forward for your sleeping half pigeon. And just let your torso be heavy. Find full big breaths in and out. And you might notice a little bit of a difference from one side to the other, just something to acknowledge in your own body. And slowly start to bring yourself out of this. Bring your hands underneath the shoulders, flip the back toes, find your three-legged dog with your left leg up into the air. And then move to downward facing dog. From here, lower your knees down to the ground and then swing your legs around and in front of you and slowly start to lower all the way down onto your back. Roll your body down. Extend your legs long and heavy in front of you. Bring your arms to your side. You can bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Allow your eyes to close and find a soft or gentle gaze. Reconnect back with your breath, that movement of inhale and exhale. And just acknowledge the place you're in physically and mentally and what might have shifted. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for joining us. That's your flow.